It has been years in the making, and now Ottawa has a federal plan to help children living with autism spectrum disorder. Some advocates say this plan falls short of creating tangible actions, and the need for action is growing. In 2019, 1 in 50, or about 2% of children and youth under 17 years old were diagnosed with autism. Andrew Kavchak is a member of the Canadian Autism Treatment for Medicare Coalition. He's the author of 2 books on autism policy. His latest book, called Waiting for National Autism Strategy. His 23-year-old son, Stephen, lives with severe autism. And Andrew is joining us from Ottawa this morning. Good to talk to you again.
Good morning.
Andrew, a national framework is something that you have committed your time and your energy to for years. Let's start with what works in this plan. What will make a difference for families like yours?
To be honest, in the short term and the medium term, nothing. The minister is counting on us to have faith in the long term. And, you know, we've been lobbying the federal government since the Otten case went to the Supreme Court of Canada in 2004. It's been 20 years since I started protesting on Parliament Hill during my lunch hours, calling for the federal government to help the provinces who weren't able to deliver treatment or places in group homes in a timely manner for those who are on the severe end of the spectrum. I mean, you know, if I try to look, you know, using the Monty Python, you know, always look on the bright side of life approach, you know, what's good in all of this is that after 20 years of lobbying, we finally got the federal government to acknowledge that there's a problem in the autism community across the country. We got them to acknowledge that the federal government can actually potentially do something, right? Since 2004, they've been negotiating health accords with the provinces, actually identifying specific medical procedures for which funds were earmarked and tagged. The Senate committee in 2007 recommended that the government convene a meeting, use its convener role and leadership role to convene a meeting with the provinces, put some money on the table, negotiate a funding formula for the treatment of autism. What we've been asking for is not you know, out of the moon or anything. It's just to be treated with access to universal health care. I mean, one of the problems with treatment is that it's not offered through the Ministry of Health with OHIP or Medicare coverage. It's offered through the Ministry of Social Services, which has been plagued with waiting lists. They don't have the resources. They don't have the expertise.
Yeah.
When my son was diagnosed in 2003, for example, you know, there was 1,000 kids on the waiting list. Today, there are over 70,000 on the waiting list. So this strategy right now, as far as I can tell, is merely a commitment to give us in the short term, you know, perpetual Zoom meetings and more consultations. All right. And the good thing, you know, is that it does say that it's a 5-year, multi-year plan and that it will be revised to reflect the needs of the autism community. But the truth is the autism community needs don't change. We've been asking for the same thing, access to treatment and access to group homes. What needs to change is the government's approach and start actually spending some money and doing something rather than just creating more committees.
And Andrew, families like yours with a child or two living with autism understand the importance of time. There's a wait for diagnosis. There's a wait to get into a program. And then you age out of that program and there's a wait to get your funding for the next program. Group homes, which you just mentioned, also have these increased waiting lists. And your framework called for a housing strategy, but you say you need more access to group homes. Can you explain for people who might not understand, why are group homes so much more important for families who live with autism?
Well, look, the thing is that, you know, autism is a spectrum. So at one end, you've got the high-functioning, you know, the neurodiversity crowd that just want to be independent, and they can live independently. They're highly communicative and so on. At the other end, on the other hand, you've got kids who are low-functioning, often, like my son, nonverbal, and they need help with absolutely every stage of activity during the day, from the beginning in the morning to toileting, clothing, eating, and all activities throughout the day. So the thing is that, you know, we as parents can do what we can. We love our children, and we're doing our best. But at some point, we can no longer, as we get older, take care of our children with the kind of energy and resources that they require. I mean, is it too much to ask in a wealthy and G7 country like Canada that the most weakest and vulnerable people in society be given a place to be held in a group home with appropriately trained staff to take care of them so that they can have a life of dignity and a quality of life that we can be proud of and know that our children are safe and secure.
Right.
But I live in Ottawa, and here we applied and put our son on the waiting list for placement in a group home on the first day that he was eligible, which
Right.
was when he was turned 18. And we were told, we're going to be taking care of our child until we can no longer do so. And that there are families in Eastern Ontario in their 80s that are still taking care of their disabled adult children. I mean, this is absolutely absurd.
Andrew, you asked if it was too much to ask, and I would say it is not too much to ask for children like your son, Stephen, who we're just showing our viewers here, to live, as you describe it so well, a life with some dignity and care for you as you care for them. I want to thank you for coming back on Your Morning.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.